97% of women do this. The other 3% are lying. The exact moment we realize you're no longer interested, something breaks inside us that has nothing to do with losing you. It's the moment we understand we've been performing for an audience that stopped watching. While you think you're just pulling back, we're experiencing the death of every version of ourselves we created to keep your attention. Women have 5 distinct phases when we realize you don't want us anymore. Every woman rotates through each pattern. We complete the entire cycle before we can even admit what's happening. Most men think we're upset about losing them. We're not. We're mourning the woman we became, trying to keep them. Phase number 1. The realization hits like delayed shock trauma. I don't immediately understand that you've lost interest. My brain protects me by creating reasonable explanations for every sign. Your shorter texts become, "He's busy at work." Your delayed responses become, "He's giving me space." Your lack of initiative becomes, "He's respecting my independence." I build an entire mythology around your disinterest to avoid facing the truth. Tuesday, March 14th, 2:47 p.m., while I'm waiting for the N train at Union Square. You respond to my 247-word paragraph about how my boss Karen humiliated me in front of the entire marketing team during our quarterly review with, "That sucks." 2 words. 6 months ago, you would have called immediately and spent 37 minutes helping me strategize my response. I tell myself you're learning to be less codependent, that brief responses show emotional maturity. Friday, March 17th, 8:23 p.m., while I'm getting ready in my black dress you used to say made my eyes look incredible. You cancel our dinner reservation at Lucinda's via text 37 minutes before we're supposed to meet. Something came up with work. Rain check? I spend 49 minutes standing in front of my full-length mirror, convincing myself this proves how dedicated you are to your career advancement at Goldman Sachs. How responsible you've become about client deadlines. Monday, March 20th, 11:15 a.m. During my lunch break at that salad place where we used to meet, I notice you stopped asking about my day, my weekend plans, my doctor's appointment results. When I bring this up, you say, "I figured you'd tell me if something important happened." I interpret this as trust, as confidence in our connection. I write in my journal that night about how secure our relationship has become, how we've moved beyond needing constant check-ins. Harvard Cognitive Psychology documents this as reality denial with protective narrative construction. The mind creates alternative explanations to delay processing threatening information about relationship status. I don't just ignore red flags. I repaint them as green ones. My nervous system knows something's wrong, but my conscious mind refuses to process the data. I develop chronic headaches for 11 days straight because my body is holding tension my brain won't acknowledge. Sharp pain behind my left eye that starts at 2:30 p.m. every day and lasts exactly 4 hours and 17 minutes. The protective delusion can only last so long. Phase number 2. The truth crashes through my defenses like a tsunami, usually triggered by one undeniable moment that makes all my explanations crumble simultaneously. I don't gradually realize you're not interested. The knowledge hits me all at once with devastating clarity. Wednesday, March 22nd, 7:43 p.m. While I'm folding laundry and listening to that Spotify playlist we made together, I see you've been active on Instagram for the past 3 hours, posting stories from your CrossFit workout, liking photos of your coworker Jessica's vacation in Tulum, commenting on your friend Mike's relationship post with "Happy for you, bro," but you haven't responded to my text from 4:18 p.m. asking about your big presentation to the Henderson clients. In that moment, everything crystallizes. You have time for everyone except me. Thursday, March 23rd, 6:29 a.m. While staring at my ceiling and counting the 17 cracks in the paint, I replay every interaction from the past 2 weeks in 17 minutes of pure horror. Your distracted kisses while checking ESPN scores, your phone face down during dinner at Romano's on Tuesday. The way you said "love you too" instead of "I love you" before hanging up yesterday. Each memory becomes evidence I was too terrified to process. Friday, March 24th, 11:52 p.m. After crying through an entire episode of The Office, I finally admit what I've known for 6 days and 14 hours, but couldn't face. You're not pulling back temporarily, you're pulling back permanently. You're not stressed about the Morrison account, or processing your feelings, or giving me space. You're done. And I've been performing Hamlet for someone who's already left the theater and is halfway home. NYU trauma research identifies this as delayed recognition, followed by acute awareness. The psychological system can only suppress threatening information until overwhelming evidence forces recognition. The realization doesn't come gently. It comes like a building collapse. Everything I thought I knew about us becomes a lie I was telling myself to survive. I throw up 4 times in 6 hours, twice in the Whole Foods bathroom on East Houston while buying groceries for a dinner you'll never come to. Once in my car outside your apartment building at 2:17 a.m. and once while brushing my teeth at 3:47 a.m. because the minty taste reminded me of kissing you when you still wanted to. If you're watching this because you recognize this painful awakening, subscribe now. What I reveal next shows how we try to resurrect what's already dead. This recognition triggers desperate action. Phase number 3. I become a resurrection specialist, trying to bring our connection back from the dead. Instead of accepting your disinterest, I launch a full-scale campaign to recapture whatever I had that made you want me in the first place. I don't just mourn you. I become obsessed with reverse engineering your loss of interest. Saturday, March 25th, 10:34 a.m. While drinking coffee from the mug you brought me from your Chicago business trip, I analyze our entire relationship timeline to identify the exact moment you started pulling away. Was it February 14th, when I mentioned meeting your parents over Valentine's dinner? February 23rd, when I got emotional about my job stress and cried for 18 minutes in your car? March 3rd, when I asked if you'd delete your Hinge profile? I create a detailed reconstruction of my relationship crimes in a Google Doc titled "What Went Wrong? A Timeline." Monday, March 27th, 3:17 p.m. during my lunch break at the deli where you used to meet me, I transform myself into the woman I think you fell for originally. I start wearing that green wrap dress you complimented on our 3rd date at the Museum of Natural History. I resurrect inside jokes from January when you still laughed at my impressions of your boss. I reference movies we watch when you still wanted to discuss the ending. I'm performing our greatest hits for an audience of 1 who stopped buying tickets. Wednesday, March 29th, 9:41 p.m. While sitting in my car outside the Starbucks where we had our first date, I send you a carefully crafted text designed to sound casual while testing your level of investment. Just tried that Thai place you mentioned on East 12th? You were right about their drunken noodles being incredible. I'm offering you an easy entry point back into caring about my daily experiences. You respond with a thumbs up emoji at 11:56 p.m. A thumbs up emoji to what used to be an hour-long conversation starter. Columbia Relationship Psychology terms this as behavioral regression with attachment protest, returning to earlier relationship patterns while escalating efforts to regain partner attention. I don't just want you back. I want to prove that whatever you're feeling is temporary, fixable. A misunderstanding I can solve through better performance. I spend 47 hours that week trying different versions of myself, like outfits in a department store dressing room, hoping one will make you remember why you wanted me. My throat burns constantly from swallowing words I want to say, but know will push you further away. like acid reflux of unexpressed desperation that leaves me tasting metal for hours. But the resurrection attempts fail, leading to something darker. Phase number 4. I begin bargaining with reality, offering pieces of myself in exchange for your renewed interest. Your disinterest becomes a negotiation where I'm willing to pay any price to change the outcome. I don't just want you back. I want to prove I can be worth wanting if you'll just tell me what price to pay. Thursday, March 30th, 7:56 p.m. While rereading our text history from December, when everything felt possible. I offer to be less needy if you'll just talk to me about what's wrong. I'm literally auctioning off parts of my personality, like selling furniture from a foreclosed house, promising to need you less, feel less, ask for less, if it means you'll give me more. I write and delete 14 different apologies for being too intense, too emotional, too much woman for such a busy man. Saturday, April 1st, 11:23 a.m. After a sleepless night listening to you breathe through the wall we now share, like strangers, I suggest we take things slower, that maybe I was pushing too hard for commitment when you're focused on your career. I'm rewinding our entire progression like a broken cassette tape, offering to undo months of emotional development if it means getting back to January when you couldn't get enough of me. I'm willing to time travel backward through intimacy. Tuesday, April 4th, 2:44 p.m., while pretending to work on my laptop at the coffee shop across from your office. I tell you I understand if you need space, and that I'll wait however long it takes for you to figure things out. I'm turning your rejection into a test of my patience, transforming your disinterest into a challenge I can win through endurance. I convince myself that proving I can live without you will make you want me again. The ultimate reverse psychology experiment. Yale Developmental Psychology describes this as self-modification under abandonment threat, offering to alter core identity characteristics to prevent loss of significant relationship. I become my own worst enemy, negotiating away everything authentic about myself in hopes of becoming someone you could love again. The bargaining isn't just about keeping you. It's about proving that love can be earned through self-sacrifice. I lose 9 pounds in 2 weeks because anxiety has replaced appetite like a tapeworm of emotional stress. And I convince myself that being smaller might make me easier to love. Less space to take up in your increasingly crowded life. Write me in the comments if you've ever tried to negotiate your way back into someone's heart. Watch my video, She Says Just Friends, but still needs your energy, to understand how women use performance to maintain connection even when love is dying. The final phase reveals the most devastating truth. When bargaining fails, I reach the final stage. Oh, what? Phase number 5. I slowly accept that you're gone, but not for the reasons you think. The mourning isn't about losing you. It's about burying every version of myself I created while trying to keep you. I don't just grieve the relationship. I grieve the woman who thought she could be loved if she just performed correctly. Friday, April 7th, 6:18 a.m., while staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror and not recognizing the woman looking back, I wake up and realize I don't remember who I was before I started modifying myself for your approval. I've been so focused on being what you wanted that I lost track of what I wanted. The woman you're no longer interested in isn't even really me. She's a character I created, complete with costume changes and rehearsed lines. Sunday, April 9th, 4:32 p.m., while going through old photos on my MacBook from before we met. I look at pictures from my birthday party in September 2022 and feel like I'm looking at a stranger. That woman had strong opinions about politics I've since softened, Interests in pottery classes I've abandoned. Dreams of traveling to Iceland I've put on hold to accommodate your schedule. I realize I haven't just lost you, I've lost her, and she might have been someone worth keeping. Tuesday, April 11th, 10:47 p.m., after reading my journal entries from before you existed in my world. I understand that your disinterest is actually mercy disguised as rejection. You're not rejecting me. You're rejecting the performance I've been giving for 7 months and 3 days. The tragedy isn't that you don't want me anymore. The tragedy is that I don't know who me is anymore in a world where love that looks different from what I've been performing might actually be possible. Johns Hopkins Clinical Psychology identifies this as identity reconstruction following relationship dissolution. Recognizing how much authentic self was compromised during relationship maintenance attempts. The hardest part isn't accepting that you don't want me. It's accepting that the person you don't want isn't really me anyway. I spend 3 weeks rediscovering interests I abandoned, like archaeology of my former self, opinions I silenced to avoid conflict, parts of myself I edited out to be more palatable to your increasingly refined taste. Your disinterest becomes the permission I never gave myself to stop performing and start existing as the woman I was before I learned to contort myself into shapes that fit your attention span. My whole body feels lighter for the first time in months, not because you're gone, but because I've stopped carrying the weight of being someone else for someone who was never really watching anyway. These 5 phases reveal the devastating truth. These 5 phases reveal what really happens when a woman realizes you're no longer interested. We don't just process rejection. We process the death of every version of ourselves we created to earn love that was always conditional on our performance. The realization isn't just that you don't want us anymore. It's that the person you don't want was never really us to begin with. Some women spend months performing for men who've already decided we're not worth the show. But the real tragedy isn't losing your interest. It's losing ourselves while trying to keep it. Here's what I learned. Your disinterest didn't break my heart. It broke the spell that made me think I had to be someone else to be lovable. The 5 phases aren't about getting you back. They're about getting ourselves back from the performance we've been giving. Do I regret the woman I became, trying to keep you? Every single day. Do I understand why I lost myself in the process? I'm still learning to forgive myself for that. Am I grateful that your disinterest forced me to find myself again? That's the question that keeps me awake at night. If you're currently losing interest in someone who's trying desperately to keep it, maybe you're not just rejecting them. Maybe you're freeing them from a performance they never needed to give. And maybe the kindest thing you can do is let them know that the show is over, so they can finally come home to themselves. But how do you tell someone they're enough without the performance? How do you help someone understand that your disinterest isn't about their inadequacy, but about their inauthenticity? These might be questions without comfortable answers. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is stop pretending to want what we don't want, even when it hurts someone who's lost themselves trying to please us. If you want to understand more about how women lose themselves in relationships, watch my video, The Secret Psychology of Women and Love. That video will show you why we choose performance over authenticity, and how it destroys both love and identity.